station. This is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
We are ready for the event.
WSYR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Andrew Donovan with News Channel 9. How do you hear me?
I have you loud and clear. How me?
I hear you great, Dr. Jeanette Epps. Thank you so much for being here. We were able to travel to the Kennedy Space Center for your launch and have been following every step of your mission. It is so great to see you.
It's thanks to be here. Thank you. I appreciate you following along. There's a lot of great things going on here on the International Space Station.
Well, you know, I just heard from one of our meteorologists who brought her family outside in the northern suburbs of Onondaga County to wave at you. So people literally are watching the ISS above. How's everything going up there?
It's going really well. I mean, we had a really busy time when we first arrived with having a cargo ship come, and we had one space flight participant visit and just getting things done. And now we have we have a little bit of quiet time, but not much, because hopefully soon we'll have the Boeing Starliner folks join us. And then my colleagues will conduct several spacewalks. So it's going to be a very busy June.
Are you able to pay any attention to all of the pride beaming from Central New York, pride in you and your accomplishments?
I'm flattered and I'm beyond honored. You know, growing up in Syracuse, we had a lot of support for my twin sister and me, and it is so appreciated. And if this is one way that I can give back, just to tell people what's going on here, and that if this little girl from south side of Syracuse can be here, you can do it too.
What stands out to you about all of the response and celebration from back at home?
Well, what stands out to me is how many people are participating, and you know, friends and colleagues from Lemoyne College, and even from my high school. My friend Hillary Hunter and one gentleman that he sat behind me in calculus in high school, Mike Pachenko, who is a part of the Syracuse School District. You know, it's been amazing reconnecting and chatting with people from my childhood, high school, and undergrad, and I'm just flattered, and I'm glad that they remember me and that they're being a part of this.
What was it like to do a conversation with students from the Syracuse City School District and Lemoyne College? I know they got to submit some videos and you got to answer, and they got to watch you live on television, just like this from the ISS.
Well, it was amazing, mainly because, you know, Lemoyne College has been very, you know, since I joined the astronaut corps, they've been very critical in helping me get to this point right now. And so I was really flattered and a little emotional because, you know, it takes me back to the time when I was a kid and not knowing how to get from point A to B. And I realized that there are a lot of people who really helped me and are helping me now. So it was quite emotional, and you know, I'm very grateful for them.
Well, you say points A to B. I'm not sure what the ISS is, points A through whatever. That's maybe beyond Z, you know, A to the ISS. You mentioned that you're a little girl of color from the South Side who grew up and went to space. You talk about inspiring others to do that, but you did that. You should celebrate, and I just wonder how you're able to celebrate yourself.
Well, you know, being here is one way to celebrate, and that has been great. And the other thing that helps me kind of like really put this into perspective is when I share my story with other people and how much they identify with it. And then they're inspired to do something else. Maybe not go to space, but to do something, you know, else in their life. Dream big, at least. You know, they don't know where they'll end up. They may end up in the stars like me, but they may end up just doing something great.
You've prepped for years, but is there something about space that you didn't expect? What surprised you most once you were up there?
Well, I guess what surprised me the most was the fact that I've seen all the pictures of the Earth while I was training, and even as a kid, you see all these great images of the Earth from space. But when you get here and you look out the cupola window or you look out another window, it is still mesmerizing to see our planet right there. We're not on it. All of our loved ones are there. But it still mesmerizes me to this day after over 80 days of being here, still looking out the window and just seeing the planet from this perspective is jaw-dropping. And then also on top of that, to get to see an eclipse from this vantage point was amazing. So, there's still a lot of wonder and awe to see here. And I don't think you ever truly get used to it. I'm just trying to make sure I take it all in so that when I'm back on Earth, I can remember that feeling.
Speaking of Earth, are you in touch with anybody back at home? How do you communicate?
Well, communication has been really great up here, and it's only been in the last couple of years that we actually have access to software on our iPads where we can see and talk to our family members. I've talked to people in Syracuse. I've talked to people all over the world, friends in Australia and France and even London. So I've talked to many friends and keeping contact. And one of the things that still warms my heart is when I call people from this platform and they realize that they're talking to someone from space. The awe and the wonderment that they feel is kind of is contagious. And so that's why it's one of my favorite things to do is just cold call someone and just call them from space, see how they're doing.
So I know you're in a working station. What's going on behind you? There's somebody doing something back there.
Well, those are my colleagues having a little bit of fun. Well, actually, he's really working. So in space, water behaves very differently than on Earth. And so what he's doing, he has a bag of iodinated water, and he's trying to get the gas bubbles out of it because it may cause a problem. The gas bubbles will cause problems in certain types of equipment. So in order to get those bubbles to move forward, he has to spin around. And so the bubbles are pushed out through some centrifugal forces. So that's how he does it. He was actually working.
Well, it's fun to see him using the lack of gravity to his advantage. I was going to say with your iPad, it looks so light up there. You're flipping it around like it's maybe the weight of a cell phone. I feel like iPads usually have a little more girth to them, but you're flipping. Look at there you go.
Yeah, that's the beauty of space. It's just mass now. No weight, just mass.
Do you get to have any normal life up there? I mean, food, television, fun with your crewmates?
We always get to have fun up here, even when we're working. There's always stuff that's happening, and we do get sort of a regular life. Like this past weekend, we had the weekend off, and you could do whatever you want. And so I took videos, I talked to family members, I exercised, we made dinner and had dinner with our Russian colleagues as well. So, we do get to have a little fun. Plus, just being here is amazing.
Yeah, I bet. What are you in right now? What's all that around you?
Well, in a few weeks, we're going to have an EVA, and this is the robotics workstation that we would work from in order to do that. We have several monitors. We have hand controllers, a rotational controller as well, and we would monitor the spacewalk from here while one of our colleagues will get into a foot restraint on the arm, and we'll move them around using the Canadian robotic arm. And so we have a lot of different equipment here that we use when we have an EVA or when we have a track and capture. In different situations, we'll use it. But as you can see, the space station is a working station. We've got wires everywhere. We got inverters. We've got power GFCI cables. We've got a rad detector. We've got all kind of things. It's a real working station 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Well, speaking of all the work you do up there, I know you have a bunch of colleagues with you. You're going to introduce us to one of your crewmates, Tracy Dyson, I think, is standing by to join the conversation. Do you want to bring her in?
Oh, definitely. Tracy and I have been having a lot of fun up here. You know, we've spent several nights around the dinner table just laughing our heads off of stuff that we see happen. And it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Tracy Dyson.
Tracy, it's Andrew Donovan.
Howdy,
at
nice to
NewsChannel
be
9
here
in Syracuse.
and fun to do
nice,
this.
nice to see you. Yeah, we're talking to you from Jeanette's hometown in Syracuse. I know this isn't your first flight, but how's your journey been celebrated by your hometown? You're from the Los Angeles area, right?
Yeah, I grew up in the Southern California area, and all of my education from kindergarten all the way through postdoc has been in that state. And I'd have to say the response, even though this isn't my first flight, it's been a real supportive level of enthusiasm, and I'm very proud to represent the schools and the organizations that have helped play a role in getting me this far.
So I know Tracy's been up there before, and I know Jeanette, this is her first trip. Have you had any advice for her? Any fun advice? Any serious advice? She's saying yes.
Oh, we have our serious moments, and we have our fun moments. I don't know. I think Jeanette, not to put her on the spot, probably could tell you more advice. I'm always talking, so I I don't know if I could pluck anything. But we were doing an activity just the other day together, and I won't explain what it was. But we had this one part, and it was floating. We just decided to stick it above our head while we were doing it, to stow it there. And my advice to her was to keep a scan on it, to keep looking at it. I also offered up a method of the ditty bag, this mesh bag thing that I use all the time, and I Velcro it to my pants, and it's got a drawstring, and it's one of the niftiest things on orbit. And it keeps things from floating away, and I was very enthusiastic about it. I don't know, Jeanette, what would you feel about it?
Well, you got to realize one of the biggest problems that we have up here are things floating away. So you'll work on something, and all of a sudden you turn around, it's gone. So having these little tricks and tips really come in handy, big time.
I will say I'm a little nervous watching your iPad flow around, but that's space. You guys know what you're doing up there without gravity. I'm wondering how your different backgrounds contribute to a partnership of the projects. I know, chemistry, physics. How do all of those specialties come in to do all the work that you're doing?
Well, it's I'll let Jeanette pipe in, but from my experience, our backgrounds in science, in the specific disciplines that we did our work in, it was really the process that we had to go through to get where we are. Especially with the PhD, all the qualifying exams and in-depth research, it really just kind of formed you as a thinker, as an observer, most of all, a tinkerer. And so a lot of the skills that we developed in pursuing those degrees and understanding those disciplines really just contributed to our ability. It's an expression here of the work that we do. And so the amount of physics and chemistry that Jeanette and I actually get to do on a daily basis is not as grand as you might think. We actually are more like wrench monkeys on a daily basis and putting our lab skills to work. Oh, yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
No, she's right. And so, we are the hands and the eyes of the researchers back on Earth. And so what we do is having that background actually helps us to understand the research that we're going to help with and help it to move it along more properly. I can only imagine if someone comes up and they have never seen a PCR or some of the equipment that we use, how, there's so many questions they would have. But, just having that background information on what you're doing really helps the research proceed in a not just a normal way, but a better way, and help to get the results that the researchers need on the ground. So I think the background, you have to have a technical background to do this, but also all of the tinkering and things that we do as graduate students and even working at different places like Ford and other places, you really kind of get to know tools and how to put things together, how to take them apart properly, and really help the research. Help produce good research here.
Well, Jeanette, let's talk about your research. I know you're testing changes to your immune system while in space, and that could help with 3D printing to replace organs for humans. How's that project going?
Station, your mic is off.
Sorry about that. So the research is going really well. The immunity assay experiment is really looking at how our immune system changes over time as we live and work on the space station. So that's going really well. The processing part is the heavy part. We draw our own blood, and then we go through the process, and then those results are frozen, and the researcher on the ground will produce a lot of great research just from the 4 people here. But everyone who comes here, a lot of blood is drawn, and we're doing all kind of processing on it to see how our immune system changes. And even with the 3D fabrication, in the future, I could imagine having this machine that can 3D print an organ, be it a heart, be it a kidney, while in space. And so being able to do that without gravity is like growing cells in vitro, where like a baby growing in the stomach is basically growing in weightlessness because it's suspended in that fluid. So, there's all kind of things that we're doing that should help push our exploration out to different worlds, even not just to the moon, but to Mars and beyond. So all of this research that we're doing, hopefully in the future, we'll see some great things on a moon and maybe another planet and on Earth.
Tracy, Jeanette's friends and family and her whole hometown is watching this. What's something we don't know about Jeanette that you've experienced with her on the ISS? Give us some dirt.
I might need to solicit help from my other crewmates. Let me see here. I really can't. I'm on the spot. I can't think of any, but let me think. She's dirt. I can tell you she's quite a runner. She's the T2 queen here. Let's see, what else? She's a closet photographer. She's in competition with the other 2 guys for the most time in the cupola, taking shots. And I don't mean just taking snapshots of the Earth. I mean, she's in there getting into the details of how to set up an intervalometer. She's, and not just in the cupola, but in other activities, the special work that we do inside the airlock, getting prepped for these spacewalks, which she is a member of. And just doing special things with the camera, which, for me, I'm not much of a camera buff, so I admire the courage that she has to try things with her free time, the limited free time that we have up here with that. But dirt, my goodness. Trying to think. You guys have to get back. Let's have another interview later on, and I'll be thinking about stuff, and I'll have a list for you. Is that a fair enough answer?
That's fair. That would be great. Tracy, thank you for being part of our conversation and for taking care of Jeanette as much as the little bit she might need a little bit of friendship on board. And Jeanette, on behalf of everyone in your hometown, we are proud of you. We're rooting for you. We're literally watching you up in space, and we get to see you floating around, having fun, and doing serious work through different channels like this. So thank you for making time for your hometown. We wish you all the best on your continued mission, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, and hello to everyone back home. Thanks for watching, and keep watching, and I hope that at some point I'll get back and we can do another interview together. So thanks, you guys.
We can't wait to talk again, and we can't wait to see you back in Syracuse soon. Be well. Be safe.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.